What's up, guys? Welcome and thank you for watching part 2 of the Advanced Mechanics series for Pokemon Go PvP, Deferring Enemy Fast Move Damage. First of all, I want to give out a shout out to Flark Fiasco for recommending that I do this next in the first place, just because it ties in better to the original video. I'm still going to get around to undercharging. I know that was there's a very high demand for that, so don't worry, I will get to it. But feel free to follow me on Twitter so you can have more input on the next mechanics video, or just get some updates on when I'm about to release these. But before I get into the details about deferring enemy fast move damage, I want to clarify what that really means. So what deferring enemy fast move damage is taking a fast move that could either be a huge super effective hit or a lethal blow to one of your Pokemon, and transfer that onto another Pokemon that might resist it or just not faint from it, allowing you to save energy later on in the battle if you save your Pokemon, or saving that Pokemon later for a potential sacrificial swap or something like that. But to kind of illustrate to you how powerful this mechanic can be, I'm just going to run through a video first before I explain what's going on. And this is a situation that is very common to me. This is a mirror match with Shadow Victreebel, Vigoroth, and Bastiodon. So in this case, you're going to see that they're going to throw their Leaf Blade right away. I'm going to get my fast move through, my free fast move, as discussed in the previous video, and I'm going to win this Victreebel lead mirror matchup with a sliver of health. It's approximately 1 HP, might be 2 HP, doesn't matter. Whatever comes in, that fast move damage is going to faint me. So I'm going to throw a Leaf Blade, and you can see the smackdown animation actually happened there. So you can know the smackdown went through. So the only way I'm going to survive is if I switch and catch that damage on my Vigoroth instead. So because I caught that on my Vigoroth, I now have a Victreebel in the back with another charge move still stored up. If I'd let my Victreebel faint, I wouldn't have that charge move. So now I'm going to come in with this Leaf Blade against this Vigoroth that probably has a loaded Bulldoze ready to unleash on my Bastiodon. And I'm going to be able to get a Leaf Blade off here and swap out before this Bastiodon comes in and smacks me down. And now we have a Bastiodon versus Bastiodon mirror match. And because I am not a sadist, I'm not going to make you guys watch all 5 minutes of that. But either way, my Victreebel is still alive. If I needed to sacrificial swap him, that's still an opportunity there. Although I have a 1 shield advantage in a Bastiodon versus Bastiodon mirror matchup, so it's likely that that wouldn't be the case. But it's nice to keep play as optimal as you can. So now that you've seen how powerful this can be, literally a game-winning mechanic, I'll take you over the basics of it and how to apply it. So let's go over the basics of GBL again. These first two I covered in the last video, but I'll just run through them really quick. Time in PvP split into segments called turns. Each turn is 0.5 seconds. And then each charge move takes 1 turn to activate. And then this is very important for deferring fast move damage. When a charge move is activated by a player, his opponent will be allowed to finish their current fast move. Most switches also take 1 turn to activate. This is stuff we haven't discussed yet. There are a couple exceptions. Right after a charge move, for some reason, switching does not take a turn. Your moves will be synced up. And then the second exception is sometimes the game lags or resyncs after a switch. I think this is Niantic trying to deal with lag. And then there's no extra turn for your opponent as well. So this next part is very important and is kind of its own standalone mechanic that probably isn't big enough for its own video. So especially if you use 1 turn fast moves, but that is fast move damage has priority. So before I get further into this, I want to talk about what a fast move finishes naturally or unnaturally means, or what I mean to say by that. So when a fast move finishes unnaturally, that's what's happening up here. When a charge move interrupts a fast move, I consider that finishing unnaturally. When the charge move finishes activates during a fast move, the fast move finishes during that charge move. When I say a fast move finishes naturally, I mean that it's able to carry out its full duration without being interrupted by a charge move. So when a fast move finishes naturally on the same turn as a charge move is activated, or a switch is activated, its damage has priority over everything else. That damage will come into effect first. So this is still a bit confusing. So another example to maybe illustrate that is, say your Pokemon has a 2-turn fast move and their Pokemon has a 3-turn fast move. And you throw your 2-turn fast move and they throw their 3-turn fast move. And at the end of your 2-turn fast move, you switch. So that switch activates on that 3rd turn. That's the same turn that their fast move ends. So their fast move will deal damage to your Pokemon before it switches out. This is actually, it's not that big of a deal until you consider 1-turn fast moves. In a 1-turn fast move, that means switching into a Pokemon with loaded energy with a Pokemon with a 1-turn fast move, you can deal that damage to them before they can get that charge move off. So I'm going to show another video illustrating this, because this is a really big deal, especially if you like to play those Pokemon like Altaria or Rainy Cast form where you have access to those 1-turn fast moves. So in this situation, my Gengar is farming down a Poliwrath, and I have enough for a Shadow Punch here. And you know the strategy, mash your charge move, but guess what? My Gengar faints before anything can happen. This Scizor is running Fury Cutter, a 1-turn fast move. I'm playing this scenario because this is one we just watched and you should be very familiar with now. One Victreebel will end with 1 HP, and my Altaria will switch in and instantly faint that Victreebel before they can get a single Leaf Blade or Sludge Bomb or anything off. So that's 70 energy just gone to waste because you had that Pokemon with a 1-turn fast move and you were able to bring it in on someone planning to do this deferring fast move damage tactic. So what am I saying when I mean deferring fast move? Now, I mentioned this a bit earlier, but I guess an easier way to say this is that you're catching fast move damage on another Pokemon. So there are 2 scenarios in which this happens. The first scenario is when their fast move damage is dealt when the fast move ends naturally. So using this is kind of a lesser mechanic. It's not going to like flip games for you, but it's a little efficiency that you can kind of put in your games, and I'll go over a lot of the scenarios later at the end of this video. And so this is, you're able to catch long fast moves, so 3 or 4 turn fast moves on other Pokemon with a swap. This can be a big deal because sometimes fast moves are the primary damage of some of these Pokemon. Think Charm as a 3-turn fast move, or Confusion or Volt Switch that hit very hard as well. Being able to catch them on a Pokemon that resists them can be game changing. And then number 2, this is the more game changing one that I kind of have debuted in that starting video, is that if a fast move finishes unnaturally due to a charge move being activated, then switching has the priority over the fast move damage. So you can switch to catch the fast move damage on another Pokemon. So with this, you can catch short or long fast moves. I'm including 2-turn in the short. You can't catch 1-turn fast moves. As I just showed you, the 1-turn fast move will take priority over activating the charge move in the first place. But what I'm saying here is that if you have a very low Pokemon, 1 or 2 HP, 1 fast move away from fainting, you can activate a charge move and then swap out and preserve that Pokemon for later. And then, of course, a lot of you are more familiar with this mechanic, but fast move damage can be permanently deferred by fainting the other Pokemon. So there are 2 different applications. I kind of covered them just now. They're the mechanics just in application form. So the first is the first video that you saw. Using a charge move as the opponent switches out to pause the timer, and then you swap out. So this is extremely important for any Pokemon with energy, with charge moves with energy under 50, as you can stack 2 of them up then and unleash them. So there are some advantages of this. Is if you save your Pokemon with 2 charge moves, you can have an extra charge move later on in the battle. Even if you don't have 2 charge moves charged up, you can save that Pokemon later for a sacrificial swap, or in the edge case that you're running like an Icy Wind team or just a regular Ultra League team with Cress, Giratina, Reggie. In the event of a timeout tie, you have that additional Pokemon, which is one of the higher up tiebreakers in terms of a timeout. So I'm going to play another clip here, and we're going to see this application in action in another team. But first, I'm just going to show a little proof to show that if the Pokemon faints, they don't take any fast move damage. Here you can see my Giratina gets hit by a Snarl after the fact. Throws a fast move, which will faint this Alolan Muck. And you go back to Giratina, and there's no orange on that bar, signifying that no damage has been done by that Snarl. Here's another scenario. It's much easier to see on their side. You see that ice shard go through because we don't have the camera panning to do all the charge move damage. You can see that Cresselia does not take any damage from that final ice shard. So here's a scenario I want to go through. We're going to speed through the beginning of this battle because it's really just set up. What's going to happen in this battle is that Hariyama is going to find himself in a position to charge all the way up on this Lapras to full energy and maybe even a little bit more. But he's going to be put very low because I was still learning the matchups of these Pokemon and got very lucky that I was left at a sliver of HP. So here we are, Hariyama farms down Lapras. That's 100 energy, so 2 close combats stored up, and they're going to throw or swap in their Charizard. So you can actually see the fire spin at the bottom if you were paying attention, but I'm going to throw a close combat here, and I'm mashing that switch button because I want to swap and preserve my health. Luckily, the Charizard faints, so you can see that the fast move damage does get deferred with fainting. They're going to bring in another Pokemon. I'm going to throw another close combat, and I'm going to mash that switch button, swap out, and now I have that Hariyama able to deal that fast move damage later, or if this battle drags on long enough, to catch a charge move. But you're going to see I'm going to end up winning this battle with just a little bit of HP on the Gengar. If they had another shield, that game could have been flipped. So that's just another example. It's more common than you might think of being able to completely flip a game around by getting that extra charge move and burning that extra shield. So the second application of catching high damage fast moves, or of deferring fast move damage, is catching the high damage fast moves of Pokemon who aren't weak to that typing. So an example of this would be a counter user who are normally fighting type or dark type or something like that, not wanting to take charm damage and then trying to dodge that by swapping out. But I'll go through all the possible scenarios of catching this damage, and I'll go over a bit why you might want to even throw that counter in the first place. So the scenario is that you have an unfavorable lead matchup versus a heavy damage chart or fast move user. So the switch menu is pretty clunky, as we all know, and it takes 1 or 2 turns to open and switch Pokemon. When you're doing this at the beginning of the game, if you're not throwing a fast move, you're essentially wasting a turn or two, depending on how fast you are with that. So I personally, and a couple other players I know, never really switch out instantly. We always throw a fast move so that our Pokemon is doing something while we swap out. So if you assume energy or even damage is important on your lead Pokemon, which it normally is, you want to think about how much energy can you get per amount of damage taken in some of these scenarios. So I'm going to go through these scenarios. It'll make a lot more sense when you're actually watching this part, so I don't feel too bad not completely explaining it now. But we're going to take a look here, and we're going to see Dragonite versus Togekiss, 1 turn versus 3 turn. I'm going to throw 1 Dragon Breath and then swap out. And you can see this charm damage is going to hit my Typhlosion instead. So that's a resisted hit, and honestly a pretty favorable scenario. I get a bonus Dragon Breath out of it. Doesn't seem like much, but 1 fast move can turn games. So in this scenario, I'm going to throw 2 Dragon Breaths and swap out versus a 4-turn charge move on my Gyarados. That Volt Switch would have really hurt. It's 2 times super effective. But luckily, I catch it on my Rhyperior, who double resists it. So you're wondering why I'm leaving a space, so 1 versus 3 and 2 versus 4. This is what happens in a scenario when it's only 2 versus 3. So fast move damage has priority. I swap out, but you can see my Victreebel still very clearly takes that Fire Spin damage. And Vigoroth has only taken 1 Fire Spin so far, where he could have taken 2. This is actually a cameo from Tho Tactical here, just from one of our matches. And this is what happens when I try and get a Razor Leaf and a charge move off before switching. So I'm going to throw a Razor Leaf and throw a charge move. Before this charge move, if you noticed, my Victreebel's health was in the yellow. Once this charge move is finished, you can see how much health. Yeah, it's in the red now. So the Fire Spin damage went through before my charge move activated. This is what I consider an alternative method. So I throw 2 counters here so that I've taken 4 turns total versus their 6 for 2 fast moves, and I swap out, and I'm able to catch that second charm on my Typhlosion. So that's a tactic you can use in the 2v3 scenario if you really do want to get some fast moves off. So this is the 2v4 scenario, pretty common, but pretty standard. You just throw 1 fast move, switch out, and you can see this confusion, instead of taking a third of the health off my Shadow Victreebel, is on my Vigoroth instead. So this is the 3 versus 4 turn scenario. You're going to see my Sceptile is going to throw a Bullet Seed here versus this Gallade. I'm going to swap, and you can't see my Sceptile take damage there. But if you notice my Weavile doesn't take the damage, I'm pretty sure if I swap back to that Sceptile later, you're going to see that it has taken about a Confusion's worth of damage. So this is my proposed alternative theory, especially if you value energy. 1 Bullet Seed, 2 Bullet Seeds. So we're at 6 versus their 8. That's a 1 turn gap. And we're going to swap, and that second Confusion gets caught. So I'm able to get 2 of my charge moves off before, or sorry, 2 of my fast moves off before their second fast move hits, and I'm able to switch. So that's kind of maximizing efficiency if energy is very important to you and efficiency is important to you on your lead Pokemon as well. But that's it as far as deferring fast move damage goes. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helps. It's all about educating people out there about how they can get the most out of their Pokemon PvP teams. And as always, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you can see when the next Advanced Mechanics video comes out.